Gen X is worse than baby boomers. That's what they keep telling me to talk about. I made a video on it. Gen X is worse than baby boomers. Let's get into it. Make sure y'all hit the like and the hype video. Welcome to the channel. Let's go.
Say what you want about Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Millennials. I don't care. The most deranged generation in recent times has been Gen X. There's something seriously wrong with them. Every Karen I've ever met has been a Gen X. They all need therapy, but somehow they don't believe in it. They all have a terrible relationship with food. Like, genuinely, sometimes I just sit here and I'm like, what happened in the 70s besides that commercial that would play that's like, do you know where your children are? Shouldn't you know where your children are? They also just had like hella serial killers from that generation. Hella. What is wrong? It's gotta be parents taking like drugs in the 70s and then having babies, right? Probably not. It's probably just the way things were. Anyways, I don't like you.
A lot of Gen X parents failed their children, whether they like to admit it or not. And I say that because a lot of Gen Xers were raised by boomers. And boomers came from a generation where children were seen and not heard. They were very strict on discipline and respect, what they thought was discipline and respect. And they had a very stern hand. And what they said went. You didn't question them. You could not question anything. It was what I said goes. What I say is it. That's nothing else. Like, you couldn't even ask why, because I said so. That was it. There was no question. And so because of that, when Gen Xers became parents, a lot of the Gen Xers kept that same ideology. Meaning they were very strict. They had a very firm hand. They did not play. You did not question them. Children were seen and not heard. They did not talk to their children. They did not explain anything to their children. It was just what they said. The problem with that is this. When you do not explain to a child what they are doing wrong, why it is wrong, why is it impactful, what impact will it have on them or others in the future, just clearly lay it all down for them. They don't really learn. They don't know. They just know that you don't like it. You told them not to do it, so they don't do it. See, that type of parenting, it did not teach children discipline and respect. It just taught them to shut up and do what you say because they didn't want to hear your mouth. They didn't want to get into trouble. But it didn't really teach them anything.
Just so you know, this is a commentary channel. I paused the video to speak. Just letting you know now before I don't want to hear it in the comments. I'm telling you right now.
They were so afraid to speak up or to be themselves or express themselves. So they just shut up and did what you said to keep you happy. But when you weren't around, they could be their true self. And you just didn't know about it because they were not allowed to express themselves. And what a lot of Gen X parents did not understand is that did not actually teach them discipline or respect.
Right.
Because they have no sense of self-control, setting a goal, achieving it, any of that. And all of that comes with discipline. It's a part of self-discipline. They have no critical thinking skills. No way to, they don't have any communication skills because they were not allowed to communicate their feelings. When something happened, they were told to shut up because it is what I say. What I say goes. And so now you have a group of children who cannot communicate, who cannot express themselves, who have no self-control. And it's all because people felt like children should have no voice. They were truly treated like second-class citizens. And that is not what I am talking about when I talk about discipline and respect. The other issue I feel like happened with Gen X parents is Gen Xers, we came from a generation of Reaganomics. It was really a lot of Gen Xers who were on the struggle bus. And I mean struggling. But we had what we needed, but we didn't have the things we wanted. Our parents could not afford that. We were truly on the struggle bus, a lot of us. And we came from also a generation that when you went to school, honey, we started the fashion shows at school. Everybody wore their fresh kicks and their clothes, and everybody, if you didn't have the flyest gear, people talked about you, picked on you. Our generation was very big on that. So when Gen Xers started to have children, they never wanted their children to feel how they felt. So
I can't tell what generation she is. I'm a little lost on that. So if you know, leave it in the comments below.
they started to give their children everything that they felt they didn't have.
Right.
I mean, they just showered them with things. They never wanted them to feel like they felt. They also never explained to their children when they really couldn't afford those things. They didn't talk about, we are struggling, we don't have the money for that. They just put up this fake facade of, I got it and I'm going to make sure you have it, even though sometimes they didn't need it. And what that caused is a huge sense of entitlement. The generation now expects people to give without them doing anything for it. Mm-hmm. There is no sense of work ethic. There is no sense of, you come up with half, I'll give you the other half. You work a little bit for it. You work an inch, I'll give you a mile. We took away the work ethic from our children because we gave so much, because we felt like we did not have enough. And so these two things have caused a trickle down effect. So now you have a huge generation of entitled children who feel like they are deserving of everything without giving anything. And they have no way to communicate their feelings. They have no way to express what they are feeling. So they're just always mad and angry, and they blow up, which comes out as a sign of no discipline and disrespect, because they have no idea of how to communicate and express themselves. And I know they're grown. Most of the Gen Xers children are grown, and so there is no way to correct it. All I can do is continue to speak out, and I talk to my children about it, about the way they're raising their children, and I'm very proud. But we single-handedly, Gen Xers, ruined a lot of our children with our ideology of the way we raised our children.
So I posted a video on my backup page. You can go check it out, talking about how sorry these Gen X parents of ours are. Not only were they garbage parents, but now they're even worse than garbage grandparents, right?
Big shouts out to the creator, Ben Arrogant, but I think his name is Benny. Big shouts out to him.
Even explained why I think it is, and I was basically like, it's because either they're so consumed with debt from fucking off their life, and they gotta still work a lot, or they're just too busy still living their life and having fun, because they did their job and they raised us and we turned 18 and we had to go and get out their house, right? Mm-hmm. And I said all of what I said in that video just for them to get they triggered old crusty asses in my comments and prove my fucking point. Let's see some of the comments. I'm tired. Full-time job, full-time mother. Nobody gave me a break. I never asked, so nobody better expect me to babysit or start over. I have a career. I work full-time. My grandma never worked outside the home. We don't want to raise kids the rest of our lives. As Gen X, we still don't care. Our job is to spoil them when we want to, not when y'all want us to. I'm 54. I'm still going to work, but when I get off work for the weekend, I'm not trying time my weeks just to free up the parents of for my grandchildren. We try to tell y'all to wait to have kids or don't have so many, but y'all ain't listen. We spent all our time making sure you had what we did. It's our turn now. Nothing wrong with putting our needs first for a change. We didn't ask y'all to raise our children. Y'all barely raised us.
Facts.
Y'all was at...
Facts. Love you, Grandma.
Running the streets. We was just in the house. Most of us understand that y'all suck as fucking parents. All we're asking for y'all to do is just be better for your grandchildren.
Right.
But y'all are that guilt be hitting y'all, and y'all got this gaslighting tactic where y'all like to rewrite history and change the past of the shit y'all did, and y'all do, and then gaslight us and make it seem like it's our fault and we're entitled, when all a nigga asked y'all was to not keep up with your grandchildren through our Facebook posts. Call your fucking grandkids. Hell, take them to Chick-fil-A on a weekend or something here and there. Nobody's asking y'all to raise our children. I guarantee y'all, most of y'all wouldn't know y'all grandbabies' birthdays if y'all children didn't post a picture on their Facebook for y'all to remember. Oh shit, it's grandbaby birthday today. Let me send some money. But like I said, y'all, and then the response is, oh, well, we lived our life, da da da. Okay. Keep. First of all, half of them didn't even. They like, well, I'm 45. I'm not Gen X, dumbass. Yes, you are. Gen X is from 45 to 60 years old. Like, that's how stupid y'all are. But like I said, remember that. Remember these lives y'all living, them bills and them.
You got some people that are zillennials too. So
all that shit that y'all, that's the excuses y'all have as to why y'all can't call your grandbabies or see your grandbabies or whatever. Remember that when you 65, 7, you can't work no more, right? And you got to be up in that nursing home, or you be like, because some of them was like, well, I got money. I got some money for somebody to take care of me. Okay. Just because you got the money to pay for your aftercare, your later years of care, don't mean them people gonna give a fuck about you. There's plenty of people, especially, and yeah, if anybody know about nursing homes, when they know you are the old motherfucker who ain't got nobody that's checking up on them and coming to see them and make sure everything's squared away, you get treated like shit. You get treated like shit because they know you ain't got nobody. And they gonna keep taking that money that y'all bragging about every month for your expenses. But remember that when you sitting up in that nursing home with a full diaper and shit on your ass because they ignoring you and they abusing you, beating your ass, flipping you out the motherfucking bed, taking your cable remote, you can't watch TV. Or them houses and them cars that y'all work and love so much for and work every day because you raise your kid, and you sitting up in that house on them holidays, on that Christmas, on that Thanksgiving, and that house fucking empty. But then you look on Facebook or Instagram and you see your kids with all the siblings hanging out, and they in the renting out cabins and spending the holidays with each other, and you sitting in a fucking empty ass house because they don't went no contact and they don't cut your dumb ass off. Like, you wonder why the family unit and the family structure is fucking failing now. It's because these selfish ass Gen X grandparents and these parents of ours did not take up the mantle that our grandparents left when they went to the ground. They so selfish and self-centered. Oh, I raised my kids. And then they were like, well, my parents didn't do this for me. So instead of doing better for your children and showing them differently, you chose to be selfish and just pass the same and just be vindictive and and pass that to your children. And you can say a lot about millennials, but one thing we will do is relate to our children.
And
that's one thing we will do. Now, we might be childish than a motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Play with toys, but we will be able to relate to our children. Y'all can't say that.
Hey, that's the argument that they're putting out about Gen X, and I'm gonna tap into it because I can relate a whole bunch. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Now let's get into it, man. When I speak from my perspective on Gen X, right? I'm speaking from the perspective of a person that has Gen X parents, but I was raised by my grandmother for the most part. My parents were there. But my grandmother is the one that raised me for the most part, okay? My grandmother was silent generation. So again, I never had a boomer grandparent. I don't know what that is to experience that. If you do have a boomer parent, which most of y'all do, or grandparent, let me know in the comments below. I was raised by my grandmother, okay? Gen X are the same generation that used to drop us off at grandma's house so they can go to the club on the weekend. It's some of y'all that do that shit now. I don't know if the club thing's still a thing. There's some people that still do that shit now. All right. The other thing too is the vast majority of Gen Xers that I know, a lot of y'all, as the woman in the first video reference, need therapy. A lot of y'all need therapy. A lot of y'all are the ones that are in the comment section talking political shit on Facebook all day long. Y'all need therapy. Y'all need therapy. A lot of y'all battling severe depression. Bipolar is the number one thing. Severe depression, anxiety, all kind of crazy stuff. And y'all just dump it off on everybody else and spew your venom online. That's it. Right? The cowardice that aches me is how y'all don't have anything to say or do about anything, but you're just so outspoken about everything. Right? Us millennials, at least we're taking initiative to try to get the shit right. Right? Y'all haven't done anything. And I've seen some Gen Xers in the comments say, well, everyone just skips right over us. Yeah, because you motherfuckers don't speak up. You don't do what's right. You only care about yourself. The whole notion of, well, I didn't have it that way. Okay, me as a millennial parent, I'm not trying to put my children in the same tough position that I had to deal with. Kids need to deal with adversity. Yes. But at the same time, they don't need to deal with pain in order to make progress, is what I'm saying. Right? That's something that Gen X parents failed a lot of us millennials with. There's a lot of incidences like that. Anxiety-inducing, panic and fear-inducing. Most of it was fear. We were raised by fear. It wasn't lessons of, hey, you shouldn't do this. Hey, you can do this so you can avoid that. It wasn't that. It was, okay, you bumped your head. Now you know not how to bump your head again. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that. I never had somebody tell me, don't touch the iron, it's hot. Don't reach across the iron, it still has heat coming from it, even after I unplug it. I didn't have that. I had to find out, like, yo, the iron's still hot. I had to find out what an iron was myself. My kids have never been burnt by an iron. Mine's in particular, because I've shown them. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things we're speaking about when it comes to what the Gen Xers have failed the millennials and a generation after that. Now, a lot of y'all are not very present in your grandchildren's lives. I'm hearing, well, it's our time. It's your time to do what? You should be more than happy to contribute and want your grandkids. I'm not saying to be one of those parents that dump the kids off for weeks at a time at your grandparents' house. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, you should be embracing the fact that you're a grandparent. A lot of y'all had us young. So you had time. We was at grandma's house most of the time. Hey, this is just the start of this series, man. Make sure y'all like this video. I'm going to see y'all in the next one. I got way more coming. Peace.